Hi, welcome to today's session of Every Mark Matters with Mr. McDonald. Today we are having a look at Edexcel History Paper 1 and Medicine Through Time, and our question of the day is: the work of William Harvey was the main reason for medical development development of medical knowledge during the Renaissance. How far do you agree? You may use the printing press and on the motion of the heart and the blood, 1629. It's a 16-mark question, so let's get 16 marks today. Our questions are made up of three components. The first component we have is the command phrase. If you want to begin to annotate your question here, and in this instance, it is: how far do you agree? This means that you must create an argument. The focus of this question is development of medical knowledge during the Renaissance. So as soon as you've annotated the focus with the word focus, do you want to super quickly pause the video and just annotate what you already know about the development of medical knowledge during the Renaissance? Press pause. I'll see you shortly. Okay, right, well, welcome back. So obviously, he mentions him in the question, but let's go with William Harvey. What does he do? He works out that the heart is a pump. He disproves the four humours. Let's have a look. We also have Andreas Vesalius. He disproves... disproves Galen. He corrects 300 mistakes. And then finally, the final thing I'm certainly going to talk about is you obviously have the printing press. / the Royal Society. And of course, that printing press is 1440. Royal Society is 1660. And again, the Royal Society, that's where scientists meet up. And then finally, our final focus is our second order concepts. And with this particular question, we are looking at the phrasing. Main reason is causation. And in essence, what you're going to be using is phrases like "this led to," "maybe this meant that." So how did William Harvey lead to medical development? How did Andreas Vesalius lead to medical development? How did the printing press lead to medical development? This question is a 16-mark question. So what that means is you, in a moment, are about to spend 20 minutes. You are going to write down 4 paragraphs. Okay, that will include an introduction, an intro, para 1, para 2, para 3, and then your conclusion. Just to clarify, your introduction is no more than 2 sentences. The reason why I'm going to suggest you do an introduction is if you run out of time for a conclusion, you already have your judgment mark there ready and waiting. So let's just have a quick look, and super quickly let's just make some success criteria. So our success criteria here with this particular question, you will be assessing AO1, which is knowledge. AO2, which is explanation, and AO2J, which is your judgment. So to make this really clear then, so let's just split this up then. Let's have level 3 and level 4. Again, just to clarify, your answers are graded or scored in level 1, 2, 3 and 4. And level 4 does not mean grade 4. Level 3 does not mean grade 3. It's the quality of your answers. If you are consistently scoring level 3s across your entire exam paper, that means you are basically working around maybe a 5, 6, 7. If you're consistently scoring level 4 and above, you are going for 8s and 9s. Right, so level 3 in terms of your knowledge, that's 2 facts per paragraph. For level 4, that is 2 precise facts per para. For level 3, in terms of explanation, you have got that's 2 steps or 2 sentences. So it's 2 sentences.
But you don't. You just need GoDaddy.
Slightly interrupted there by a YouTube ad break. 2 steps, and that is your how and why. For explanation for level 4 is what you want 3 steps, which is how, why, so what. And then finally, for level 3, you've got a simple conclusion, which is the most important reason. Nice and simple. It's a simple conclusion, maybe 1 or 2 sentences. You saying, I think William Harvey is the most important, I think Andreas Vesalius, and so on. For level 4, what you are going for a sustained argument. That compares. And I will show you one of those today. Right, let's go for 16 marks, shall we, okay? So, a polite reminder, you are about to tell me the work of William Harvey was the main reason for medical development during the Renaissance. How far do you agree? Just feel I've missed this out. The Renaissance was 1500 to 1700. So you can suggest anything outside of that time period. This is a 16-mark question. You tell me how far do you agree with the statement. You're going to have 20 minutes to do this. That's 4 paragraphs with a 2-sentence introduction. We are aiming for 2 precise facts per paragraph. Plenty of how, why, so what, and an attempt at a sustained. So you are now going to spend the next 20 minutes writing 4 paragraphs, including a 2-sentence explanation about the work of William Harvey. Was the work of William Harvey the main reason for medical development during the Renaissance? How far do you agree? A polite reminder, you are going for 2 precise facts per paragraph, 3 steps of explanation of how, why, so what, and a sustained judgment argument that compares your reasoning. I will see you 20 minutes. Set that 20-minute timer, and I'll see you shortly. Thank you very much. Okay, right, welcome back. Right, so hopefully there you have spent 20 minutes telling me the work of William Harvey was the main reason for medical development during the Renaissance. How far do you agree? 16 marks. Okay, right, so I just want to go over, just again, a polite reminder of how I'm going to assess myself. I'm going to use this success criteria over here, okay? So, if I find any references to knowledge, and again I'm going for 2 precise facts per paragraph, I'm going to put AO1. If I've put any explanation of how, why, so what, or how or why, I'm going to put AO2. And if I've made a judgment, I'm going to put in, maybe I might just put a little J next to it. Let's have a quick look here. And as I'm very conscious of my handwriting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out my answer to you, just so you can see that how I'm assessing it as we're doing it, and you can do the same on your own. I accept that William Harvey had an important impact on the development of medical knowledge during the Renaissance because he discovered that the heart works as a pump. However, Andreas Vesalius' corrections of Galen's anatomical mistakes are also just as important, as he encouraged his students to challenge the ideas of the ancients. These developments were also supported by the Printing Press and Royal Society, which ensured the spread of medical knowledge. Now, as you've worked out there, this is my introduction. The reason why is I've put my judgment here, so I've put a J there, I've compared the reason there, and I've compared the other reason there, is what I've done is I have presented my own thoughts straight away, so if I run out of time later on, I at least have my judgment. Okay? Right, let's go into my first paragraph then. One reason why someone might agree with the statement is because William Harvey discovered that the heart works as a pump. This was when he dissected lizards to identify the difference between veins and arteries, as well as using a water pump to identify that the heart works as a pump. So here, within this first sentence there is my AO2. What I've done there is I have just highlighted I have rewritten the question, made a statement, and I've presented my first reason there. He discovered that the heart works as a pump. Now, cheeky, that's also a little bit of AO1 as well, because again, you can see here AO1. I might even put AO1 plus, as I've been really precise with my knowledge. I have an AO1 for the fact that he uses it as a water pump. Additionally, he corrected Galen's belief that we have an unlimited amount of blood, and Hippocrates' belief that blood comes from the liver. So again, there is my second fact there. So what I've done there is I've done one, I've done two facts. Perfect. Ultimately disproving the theory of the four humours. Wowzers. Right, do you know what? I've included another one there. Pretty impressive. This meant that his work would lead to huge developments in ideas around the cause of disease, as doctors and scientists would now know that the four humours was inaccurate. So that last sentence there, I'm explaining how his work led to a development. As a result, doctors and scientists would need to look for other methods of treatment and prevention, moving away from bloodletting, sneaky bit of AO1 there, to more natural ideas which would be scientifically tested out. There is my why. So now I've done my how, I've done my why. So I've said, why did his work lead to progress in medical knowledge? However, Harvey's work is limited as he did not provide an alternative idea for the cause of disease, meaning that doctors continued to use the four humours even though they knew it was wrong. And there is my so what. So within that paragraph, I've presented a reason, I've brought in two facts per paragraph, and I've done my how, why, so what. Let's continue. Some might argue the work of Andreas Vesalius was more significant, as he challenged the ideas of Galen. So again, there's my AO2. I've just presented a reason that is basically my points for my point evidence explain, and that is where I've rewritten a question and made a statement. And my statement is that Andreas Vesalius is important because he challenged the work of Galen. For example, in 1543, he published Fabric of the Human Body, which disproved over 300 of Galen's anatomical mistakes after Vesalius dissected the human body. Loads of AO1 there. I also know that Vesalius encouraged his students to go look for themselves and challenge the accepted ideas around medicine. There we go. So there's two facts in that paragraph. There's my second fact in that paragraph there. This led to developments in medical knowledge as he challenged the accepted ideas of over 1,500 years and proved that the knowledge of Galen was not as accurate as the church had taught. As a result, so here, there is my how. So I'm saying, how would the work of Andreas Vesalius lead to developments? As a result, doctors and scientists would have the inspiration to go out and make medical discoveries of their own and test out the ideas of the ancients. There's my why. And you can probably see where I'm going with this. This is important because it embeds the idea of scientific method into the world of medicine, which would later be beneficial to Jenner, Pasteur and Koch. And there is my so what. So again, just like the last one, is I've presented my reason. I've got 2 facts per paragraph with loads of precise facts. And then I've got how, why, so, what. Let's proceed with my final paragraph before I go into my conclusion. So I've spoken about William Harvey. I've spoken about Andreas Vesalius. If I were to just leave it there and just go straight to my judgment, I'd be capped at about 12 marks. So let's have a look, see if I can go for 16 out of 16. Finally, the development of the printing press and Royal Society helped spread medical knowledge and the ideas of Harvey and Vesalius. So again, here I have made my statement. There again is my point, and I've just presented a reason. Maybe it's not Vesalius and Harvey, maybe it's Royal Society and the printing press. I know from my own knowledge, I love this phrase here, it's a great way to present your own knowledge. I know from my own knowledge that the printing press developed in 1440 AO1, has stopped monks and nuns copying out books that were approved by the church and allowed for mass production of Harvey's On the Motion and the Heart and the Blood. Cheeky, that's the actual name of his book that I've stolen actually from the question, 1629. I think we might be able to class that as maybe a bit of knowledge. And Vesalius' Fabric of the Human Body. Additionally, the creation of the Royal Society in 1660 allowed for scientists to meet up and discuss medical and scientific thinking. This would lead to developments in medical knowledge. Right, okay, so here is that I have presented 2 facts yet again. So I've gone a fact about the printing press, a fact about the Royal Society. Now I'm about to go into my explanation. This would lead to developments in medical knowledge. Now I'm using the language actually in the question in this paragraph, as the new information would be shared on a mass scale and would foster a new culture of scientific thinking. There is my how. As a result, the pace of discoveries would speed up as the new scientific approach to medicine would encourage doctors to make new discoveries. There is my why. Why did the printing press, why did the Royal Society lead to developments? This would be important. If you're ever struggling with a so what, just use this would be important. It's dead easy phrasing to demonstrate your so what. This would be important as, although there was still a long way to go for scientific development, it laid the foundations for the industrial periods. And then finally, my conclusion. Overall, I think that the most important reason why there was development in medical knowledge was because of the work of Andreas Vesalius. There is my judgment. He was the first to challenge the ideas of the ancients and laid the foundations for Harvey and Thomas Sydenham. I could have done a paragraph about Thomas Sydenham in my answer as well. He certainly benefited from the printing press and Royal Society, but as he was the first to establish new knowledge and challenge the church, he had a greater impact on medicine. Righto, so thinking back what I've done there, if I just go straight back to my answer here, so have I, with my knowledge, have I got 2 facts per paragraph? Well, absolutely, I've got that in all 4 paragraphs. Have I brought in 2 precise facts? Well, I would say so. I'd say I'm pretty strong with that, so I'm going to put myself at level 4. How about my explanation? Have I used how, why, so, what all the way through? Yeah, absolutely, I am very much a level 4 there. And then finally, how about my judgment? Well, have I got a conclusion for which is the most important? Yes, I have indeed. Have I made a sustained argument that compares? Well, that final judgment, I certainly am comparing the 3 of them. I'm saying that overall I think it's Andreas Vesalius, but and I've compared him to Harvey, Sydenham and the printing press. So do you know what? I would say that all I have there is for my AO2J is level 4 yet again, and because I'm level 4 across the board, I am 16 out of 16. Absolutely smashed it. Do you want to take the time now to have a look at yours and self-assess your own work? And I look forward to reading it in person. Thank you very much for your hard work, and I'll see you next time.